I'm Siddesh Gururaj and you're watching Incredible India with Sid. First of all, I'd like to thank all my subscribers for making me reach the 100 subscriber mark. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and press the notification button. So without wasting any time, let's jump into the topic. India is one of the longest military series dating back to several thousand years. The first reference to the armies is found in the Vedas as well as the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. Indian maritime history dates back to 5000 years. The first turtle dock was believed to be built at Lothal around 2300 BC near the present-day port of Mangrol on the Gujarat coast. Powerful militaries included throughout the history of India were those of the Maurya, Satavahana, Chola, Vijayanagara, Mughal and the Maratha empires. The Mauryan dynasty had the largest military power with a total of 7 lakh troops. Now the amazing fact is that if this military power was compared with the military power of the countries today, then you would all be surprised to know that the military power of the Mauryan Empire would be greater than 159 countries of the 21st century. That means that the military population of the Mauryan Empire will be far ahead of the countries like Afghanistan, Argentina, Australia, etc. and it would be among the 6th largest army in the world just behind China, India, USA, North Korea and Russia. The British changed the structure of the Indian Army. The Royal Indian Navy was first established by the British while much of India was under the control of East India Company. In 1932, the Indian Air Force was established as an auxiliary air force. The period immediately following the Indian independence was a traumatic time for India and her armed services. Along with the newly independent India, the Indian Armed Force were forcibly divided between India and Pakistan, with ships, divisions, and aircraft allocated to the respective dominions. Upon independence on 15th August 1947, K.M. Kariappa and K.S. Rajendra Shinji were promoted to the rank of Major General from Brigadier. 12 other Indian officers then held the rank of brigadier. Upon India becoming a sovereign republic on 26 January 1950, some of the last vestiges of the British rule, such as rank badges, imperial crowns, British ensigns, and royal names were dropped and replaced with the Indian tricolour and the lion capital of Ashoka. On 1st April 1954, Air Marshal Subrata Mukherjee became the first Indian Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Air Force. On 22nd April of that year, Vice Admiral Ramdas Katari became the first Indian Chief of the Naval Staff. Today, the Indian Armed Forces consist of 3 professional uniformed services: the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Force. Additionally, the Indian Armed Forces are supported by the Indian Coast Guard and the paramilitary organizations. Today, Indian Army has about 14,43,921 active personnel and 11,55,000 reserved armed forces. Now let us look about each department separately. The first one is the Indian Army. The Indian Army has a total of 7,486 plus battle tanks, which include 300 plus Arjun main battle tank, 2011 Russian T-90 tanks, 2,414 T-72 tanks, and 2,691 BM-2 tanks. The Indian Army has about 5,059 plus artillery, which includes 2,031 howitzers, 2,400 plus field guns, 290 self-propelled artillery, 338 plus multiple rocket launchers. The Indian Army has about 78,650 anti-tank guided missiles, 5,000 plus surface-to-air missiles, and 3,000 plus anti-aircraft missiles. India has one of the best missile systems like the Shaurya, which has a range of 700 to 1,900 km, the Agni 4, which has a range of 4,000 to 6,000 km, and the Agni 5, which has a range of 5,000 to 8,000 km. India stands fourth in the missile technology in the world. Now coming to the Indian Air Force. In multi-role fighters and strike aircraft, it has 272 Sukhoi, 69 Mikoyan MiG-29 known as Bas in Hindi for Hawk, 49 Dassault Mirage 2000 known as Vajra, Diamond in Sanskrit, 125 MiG-21 and 40 Indian-made HAL Tejas called the Flying Daggers, 139 Spicat Jaguar. There are a total of 50 attack helicopters, 228 utility helicopters and 15 Chinook helicopters. And almost 40% of all the weapons are made in India. And there are also 320 plus UAV or unmanned aerial vehicle. Now the last one is the Indian Navy. Its fleet comprises of 1 aircraft carrier, 1 amphibious transport dock, 8 landing ship tanks, 11 destroyers, 13 frigates, 23 corvettes, 10 large offshore patrol vessels, 4 fleet tankers, 7 survey ships, 1 research vehicle, 3 training vessels, and various auxiliary vessels, landing craft utility vessels, and small patrol boats. The Indian Navy also includes 1 nuclear-powered attack submarine, 1 ballistic missile submarine, and 15 conventionally powered attack submarines. Each uniform service has its own flag. This is the flag of the Indian Army, this is the flag of the Indian Air Force, and this is the flag of the Indian Navy. Seeing such an impressive military, you may be very proud of the Indian Army, and also this is the main reason that the neighboring countries never wage a fully fledged war on India. The Republic Day Parade of the Indian Army is one of the best parade in the world. The leaders of many countries have watched this impressive and disciplined parade on the Republic Day. The feeling we get when we watch this parade is such a great and unique feeling which all must experience once in their lifetime. Today, with the strength of 1.4 million active personnel, it is the world's second largest military force and has the world's largest volunteer army. It has also the third largest defense budget in the world with a budget of rupees 471,378 crores or US dollars 65.86 billion. The life of an Indian soldier is exciting, adventurous, and also very hard. There are many difficult conditions in which our soldiers guard the border, but one such place is Siachen. Siachen is one of the most horrific places for any normal man, but our soldiers stand there and protect our border without thinking about their lives. It is one of the most horrific places because Siachen is located at a very high altitude. Guarding this region is not at all a cup of tea by any means. Temperatures can reach low as minus 60 degrees Celsius, oxygen drops sharply, and even the food one eats gets frozen often. Soldiers here face not just the threat of enemies from across the border, but also from many diseases. In many occasions, these deadly diseases result in the death of a Jawan. Even after all these problems, they never quit their job or complain. They could have left the job and come home and enjoy like all of us do. They would have said that this is the problem of the government and let them handle it. Why should I waste my life for this? But no. They never move back from their duty and sacrifice their lives protecting us. We all sit in our comfortable, warm house, and whenever there's a news about a crime or some failure of the police or the army, we sit in front of the TV and make fun of them. And many of the people will bring out the police or the soldier in them and give big fat suggestions like, oh, they should have done like this. This is a very easy case, I don't understand why they can't do this. And one of the most common dialogue, if I was there, I could have done better than them. It is easier to sit in home and complain or judge them, but it is very hard to do even 1% of the part they do. Can you all go and stand in a place where the temperature is minus 60 degrees? We start getting fever or cough during a normal winter with just 18 degrees temperature, but imagine their condition. Not just standing there in such a low temperature, but also guarding the border 24 hours a day. If we people are caught doing a mistake, we try to complain that the machine was not working properly or it is someone else's fault. It is that guy's fault, it is this guy's fault, and then we go on. But imagine whom should the soldiers complain to. So we should at least think 100 times before we comment on any soldier or also on the police officers. If we can't help them, then we should also not make fun of them. We cannot do much to them, but we can do some things which can make them very happy and they will feel satisfied with their work. Through this channel, I request all of you that as our PM said, whenever you see an Indian soldier in an airport or in your hometown or anywhere, just go to them and thank them for all the effort they have done and give them a solid salute with full respect. This will make them very happy and this will be the best gift to any soldier of any country. If all the 1.3 billion people of India stand with our soldiers, then they will be ready to work even in minus 60 degrees or plus 60 degrees without any complaint. I'm sure that you guys will follow this and also share this with others so that they can also do the same. Again guys, thanks for watching my video. If you think that I have done a great work, please support me by subscribing to my channel and also don't forget to like, share and comment. I'll be back with another exciting episode about India. Until then, Namaste.